Today, we are decoding a manual so utterly controversial, it's actually been banned in prisons. Yet it's treated like an absolute holy grail by elite politicians and corporate titans all over the world. We're diving deep into Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power. Think of this explainer as a breakdown of human psychology. It's a look into a dark, calculated political thriller that is, whether we like it or not, just everyday life. Let's get right into it. From the time we're kids, we're fed this beautiful idealistic illusion, right? Always tell the truth, trust everyone, and good things happen to good people. But the absolute second you step into the real world, whether that's the corporate market or the boardroom, that illusion shatters. The reality is incredibly stark. It's cutthroat. It's filled with office politics, hidden agendas, and people who will literally smile right to your face while cooking up plots behind your back. If you ignore these realities, you don't magically step out of the game. You just end up becoming a pawn in someone else's.
And that perfectly illustrates what we're truly dealing with here. Power dynamics. It is an inescapable psychological game of leverage and control. Now, our objective today is not to learn how to be deceptive or malicious. Instead, think of this as building a tactical defense shield. It's an objective, modern-day toolkit designed purely to prevent manipulation. We're here to make sure you are the one maneuvering the pieces on the chessboard rather than being played as the pawn.
Section 1. Corporate Battlefield Tactics. Navigating the Hierarchy.
Okay, here is the absolute most critical survival rule for anyone operating under a senior. Law 1, never outshine the master. It sounds basic, but the crucial point here is you must never, ever act smarter than your boss.
Let's break down the psychology of hierarchy for a second. Every boss, no matter how confident they seem, harbors hidden insecurities about their position. When you display too much talent, or worse, if you correct them publicly in a meeting just to prove how smart you are, you trigger those insecurities. And here's the thing, they won't fight you openly. No, they'll use silent retaliation. Suddenly, your appraisals are blocked, or you're handed the absolute worst projects. So, what's the strategic maneuver? If you have a brilliant idea, frame it as if it was inspired by something the boss already said. Give the credit upwards. Make the master feel secure, and you survive.
Moving to Law 7, we hit the ruthless dynamics of leverage. The corporate world is basically divided into two groups. You have the doers, who are just exhausted by endless labor and spreadsheets, and the managers, who leverage the efforts of others. If you only do the grunt work, you're going to be trapped there forever while somebody else presents your work as their own. You absolutely must learn to strategically delegate. And notice the crucial detail here. History remembers the king who ordered the monument, not the laborers who actually built the pyramids. Always retain control of the final presentation.
Which leads us perfectly into Law 9, win through actions, not arguments. Look, arguments are just ego-damaging traps. Even if you win the debate, you breed resentment and lose a potential ally. There's a famous historical anecdote about an architect who was ordered by his king to add a support pillar to a building. Now, the architect knew the pillar wasn't needed, but instead of arguing and bruising the king's ego, he just built a dummy pillar that didn't even touch the ceiling. The king was satisfied, the architect's pride was fully intact, and zero arguments were had. Execute silently. Action always speaks louder than words.
Section 2. Psychological Warfare and Silence. The Weapon of Restraint.
Law 4 commands this: always say less than necessary. In a world where literally everyone wants to broadcast their every single thought, the person who speaks the least holds the ultimate control.
Consider this old proverb: words shot from a bow cannot be taken back. Silence is a highly calculated weapon. When you stay quiet, you become this unpredictable mystery. And more importantly, humans naturally despise uncomfortable silence. To fill that void, your opponents will start talking way too much, and they'll inevitably spill their own secrets, their flaws, and their hidden agendas.
So, a huge part of this is protecting your energy, which brings us to Law 10. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky. Some people carry what is basically an emotional infection. They are chronic complainers, constantly surrounded by toxic drama. Think of it like this. If you try to save a drowning person who is panicking, they will absolutely drag you underwater with them. You have to execute a tactical retreat from these individuals. Instead, surround yourself with an ambitious circle, energetic, successful people. Positivity and success are just as infectious as misery.
Now this brings us to a really hidden danger in psychological warfare. Law 46. Never appear too perfect.
Being flawless breeds dangerous silent enemies. When you project an image of absolute perfection, the perfect job, the perfect intellect, the perfect life, you trigger incredibly deep-seated envy in others.
Across many cultures, this kind of intense envy is seen as the destructive evil eye. People will applaud you outwardly, but inwardly, they're just waiting for your downfall. The strategic move here is calculated vulnerability. Deliberately fumble slightly. Reveal a minor, harmless flaw. When your peers realize you aren't some flawless machine, they feel safe, not threatened. You disarm potential enemies and actually build alliances.
Section 3. Strike with absolute boldness. Calculated aggression.
Law 28 states, enter action with boldness. If you start a project with half-hearted effort or visible doubt, you are broadcasting your weakness. Hesitation is literally blood in the water, but pure daring, walking into a corporate boardroom with absolute confidence and an undeniable aura, that sheer boldness actually masks any minor mistakes you might make along the way. People naturally trust and follow those who do not doubt themselves.
Consider the chilling historical parallel for Law 15, crush your enemy totally. In Indian history, Prithviraj Chauhan defeated Muhammad Ghori multiple times, but, driven by idealism, he forgave him and let him walk away. That was a smoldering spark. Ghori returned, launched a total betrayal, and altered history forever. Now, in the modern corporate context, this obviously doesn't mean physical harm. It means never leaving a toxic competitor or a saboteur half-defeated. If you leave even a spark, it will eventually burn down the entire forest. You have to use every legal and strategic avenue to remove them from the game entirely.
Section 4. The Strategic Power Matrix. High-level corporate intelligence.
Let's systematically walk through this intelligence matrix. First up, reputation and image. Laws 5 and 6 remind us that once respect is gone, it rarely returns, so you have to guard your brand fiercely. Second, strategic control. As Laws 3 and 11 dictate, never reveal your cards too early. Keep people dependent on you so they can never push you out. Third, spying and information. The framework for Laws 14 and 21 is just brilliant. Listen as a friend but observe as a novice. Make people think you're naive and they will show you their true faces. Finally, tactical retreat. Laws 22 and 35 teach us that not every battle is meant to be fought. Step back when the enemy is overwhelmingly strong, conserve your energy, and just wait for the perfect timing.
Section 5. Your ultimate defense shield. The modern strategic guide.
So the absolute crucial takeaway to remember is this. This manual is not a villain's handbook. It's a mirror. It reflects the unvarnished reality of the world. Mastering these laws is really about activating your defense shield. When you truly understand these dynamics, you can instantly recognize when they're being played against you in the office. You can maintain your innocence, for sure, but you absolutely must discard your naivety. Keep that inner strategist alive, awake, and highly calculating.
Which leaves us with one final, lingering question. How are you going to deploy your strategic defense shield in tomorrow's corporate battlefield? The pieces are on the board, and the next move is yours. If this explainer sharpened your strategy even a little bit, make sure to subscribe, share this with friends who might still be playing the pawn, and drop a comment below with the tactic you plan to use first. Until next time, stay sharp, stay calculating, and stay powerful.